Sid here from Geek, and I am back for another Google Ads Agency Roundtable with Nick and Mark. What's up, fellas?
All kinds of stuff.
I like it. Okay. We were missing Dustin today. Dustin decided to cancel on us last minute, so shame on Dustin. We're just going to shame in like Game of Thrones.
We'll talk about Dustin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start with, right now, we're going to start with the latest Google Ads tax. In the past, we've called Google's out of area clicks that they don't really want to talk about. We call that the Google tax. But Nick, prior to going live, threw out the concept of Google optimization being the latest Google tax and driving revenue for Google. So
the greatest Google tax.
Greatest,
ever.
Yes, latest
ever.
Yeah. So Nick, walk through that concept. What are your thoughts on it? Give me what you were thinking when you came up with the idea for it.
Yeah, so and you guys deal with this more. We try to keep our clients 100% out of Google Ads accounts because we just had some problems with them going in and changing stuff and getting the account suspended. So we've actually dealt with this with my employees going through, and it's Google recommendations. They started doing this 18 months ago, 12 months ago maybe, and they had a bunch of recommendations on you should do this, you should do that. And a lot of them you look at and you just sort of laugh and be like, this is so dumb. Like, there's no way you would do this. This isn't relevant to my business. And that's the button we would usually select. What people don't know if they don't realize that you can say no to this. So there's a carrot that they dangle, that the mothership dangles. I won't use the name, but the mothership dangles to even us is if our optimization score and our MCC goes under 70%, we lose the partnership tag. So we aren't actually Google partners, even though we spend millions and millions of dollars with them. If our optimization score drops below 70%. So we've gone through, and each one of our accounts on a monthly basis will go through and opt out of a lot of those recommendations. Not all of the recommendations suck, just 95% of them. So and if you blindly click on those, so one of the greatest ones that we saw, and we had one of our newer employees do this on an account, is it would tell you, hey, you should add broad keywords. So we've got we've got phrases and exacts. We don't really use broads. We know better than that on our stuff. They went through, and not only does it add the broads, but it removes the phrases. So it removes the current keywords that are working well and throws those out, and then puts in all broads. And a week and a half later, it comes back to me and says, hey man, this account blew up on me. I don't know why. So I just went into change history. I'm like, why in the world would you change this to this? It's like, I didn't do that. Like, yeah, you did. Then we sort of, process of elimination. Like, what'd you do on the account last time? When we're looking at the notes, he's like, added a couple of the recommendations, see how they work. Well, that was one of the recommendations he added, and it essentially blew his account up terribly. So it's a tax that they make a lot of money off of. And like you were saying, Ed, there's a good example you have on your clients calling you and asking you about it, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's they think the optimization score is really like a quality score or how good the account's going, rather than it being a metric on whether or not you're applying or dismissing Google's recommendations. So a workaround here is you want to get 100 on your score. You can either apply the recommendation or dismiss the recommendation. Either action boosts your score. So dismiss, you're going to get to that 100 no matter what. So we get clients concerned about it because they see it in there and they think it's a metric of how well we're performing for them, when in reality, it's really just, are you implementing Google suggestions? And the psychology behind it, it's a master move by Google to get them to drive broad traffic and to drive more revenue, because of that, the carrot they dangle, the good stick type thing. What else I would say there is people have the thought process of, why would Google recommend something to me that isn't right for me and that isn't a good idea? And the way I want you to think about this is you want to think about your ad budget as your ad budget, and you want to be as efficient with that as possible. Google thinks of your ad budget as revenue. And they're two completely different mindsets. You're trying to drive efficiency. They're trying to drive revenue. And those are opposite ends of the spectrum. So take every recommendation, every phone call from them with a grain of salt, because they're looking to drive revenue and not necessarily efficiency in your campaign, no matter what they tell you.
Yeah. One of the things that we tell a lot of clients when we're talking to them about stuff and they question, well, why would Google do this or why would they do that? We have to give them a quick realization of reality. You are not Google's customer. You are Google's oil or their gold or whatever they're mining. You are their revenue. Their customer is the person doing the search. And ultimately, they want to make as much money as possible. So they also want to make that customer happy, right? And that's how I think that's the big thing that we drive home with people is why should we use you over somebody else or use you instead of us doing it? Well, we're going to mine through and figure out what's the best way of giving you the best return on investment on that. Google still loves us as professionals because we're doing exactly what their customers want. We're delivering that solution. We're putting on the right landing page. We're giving them the right ad copy. We're doing the right keywords to connect the customer with the client that we're working with. So they'll give us a 50-cent cost per click when they're charging somebody else $1.52 while they're going through and clicking all the recommendations because we're doing things right. But ultimately, Google doesn't care about the mining of their oil or their gold. They're just posting your money and saying thank you.
Yep. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I think that your ad spend budget to Google is like your starting point for their revenue, and then they're going to try to do things to increase that. I've literally never heard of a Google Ads consultant called that didn't involve increasing your budget or adding attributes to your campaign that would increase your cost per click, which simply just means you're going to have to increase your budget down the road if you want to continue to get the same performance. And the metric in there is obviously confusing because we've got campaigns where first of all, we don't go in and typically apply or dismiss the recommendations, but you have to be careful because Google will also auto apply recommendations if you're not careful, and that can really blow your account up and I think there's something new on that too that I saw that was even more nefarious with how they approach that. But yeah, so those are numbers like the quality score, which we rarely pay attention to. I've literally never had a client come to me and say, we're going to quit because the quality score on this keyword or landing page is, 5.3 or whatever they are. I think they're single digits. It's always about leads, quality of leads, cost per lead, period.
Yep.
End of story.
Yep.